Stolen: 5 Free Boys Kidnapped into Slavery and Their Astonishing Odyssey Home by Richard Bell. Richard Bell brings vivid new detail to what he identifies as the reverse Underground Railroad. These illicit networks seized free African Americans and spirited them away to the rapidly expanding slave markets in the Cotton South. Bell relays this history through the story of 5 teenage boys tricked into captivity on the docks of Philadelphia by a network of slave takers from Maryland's eastern shore. He traces the boys' harrowing odyssey from Philadelphia to Virginia to Alabama. With efficiency, skill, and complete mastery of his subject, Bell shares the ordeal of the kidnapped children. He details their fears, exile, and ultimate redemption as documented from surviving records of the Pennsylvania Abolition Society. Riveting and unforgettable, Stolen exposes a hidden story of fundamental importance to the history of race and slavery in the New Republic.
I wrote this new book, Stolen: 5 Free Boys Kidnapped into Slavery and Their Astonishing Odyssey Home, because I had begun finding things in the archives that I could not explain. When I began work on this project almost 10 years ago, I began finding case after case of free African-American adults and children living in free cities like New York, like Boston, like Philadelphia, who were being targeted by gangs of professional people snatchers who made their livings turning free African-Americans into Southern slaves, selling them to planters, setting up in the Cotton Kingdom, in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in Alabama, case after case after case. I had no idea this had happened on such a grand scale in the decades after the revolution. And so I set out to write a book to educate myself about this kidnapping network, which in the book I call the reverse Underground Railroad, and to share my findings with as many readers as possible. And I've chosen to focus this book on one particular case, the case of 5 free boys living in Philadelphia who in 1825 were kidnapped, were shipped out of the city of brotherly love by one of these gangs of professional human traffickers and kidnappers, and made to march on foot a journey of 2 million human steps from this region, the Mid-Atlantic, Philadelphia, Maryland, Delaware, down to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, where their captors tried to sell them as slaves. Fortunately, everything went wrong for those captors, and some of these boys were able to make, as my book subtitle tells us, an astonishing Odyssey home.